Hey there guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Passion for Petrol. Today we're actually going to be installing some Yellowstuff pads from EVC on my Stage 2 Polo GTI. Let's get right into it. So first things first, now that the car is actually still on the ground, you want to crack off your nuts, the ones on your car, not on you. And yeah, let's do that and then we can lift the car up and get the wheel off. Really need to invest in a better jack. I'm using the one that came with the car and a bit of wood for the gravel. I'm just like, get out. So now that the car is suspended in the air, you can just get your... Oh, by the way, I would recommend one of these. It's just like a plastic covered wheel. It's like a 17mm socket thing. Just won't scratch your alloys and just makes it a little bit better for taking your wheels off. But yeah, now that you've cracked them loose while it's on the ground, you can remove them quite easily. Once I've done this, pop the wheel off. Make sure you really support the wheel when you take it off, because it'll just fall on your disc and damage the inner part of the alloy's paint. Speaking from experience, unfortunately. But yeah, then we can get into the brake pads. Basically, I should mention this as well. This car is not running the standard setup, as you can see. They come with the much smaller calipers, still single piston, but I'm using the Golf Performance Pack brakes on my car. So if you are wanting to do this on your Polo, torque specs and socket sizes will be different, I would imagine. So you're probably best finding a slightly different guide for that. But if you've got a Mach 7 Golf R, Audi S3, Seat Leon Cupra, anything like that, that run these performance pack calipers, this is applicable for you as well. I always find these look much bigger when you're taking the wheel off for some reason, but here you have the discs, bit of like heat scoring going on, and you'll see there's absolutely nothing left on that pad, so that would explain the squeaking noise I was hearing. But yeah, basically when you run these on the Polo, you've got to re-drill your discs so that they fit the 5x110, because normally the 5x112, and the retaining bolt here doesn't actually fit anymore once you do that, so hence why it moves. But it's not an issue when you actually torque up your wheel back on, it's fine. See here guys, my braided line as well seems to be holding up pretty good. KW is looking pretty swanky too, but basically all we need to do, you've got 2 bolts on the back of the caliper here, so this will hold the actual caliper onto the bracket as well, but these 2 bolts will pop off. You're going to want a spanner here as well. I'm going to go find the ones I need and then I'll let you know what sizes they are. One at the top, one just at the back as well. Once you've done that, we're going to get a flathead screwdriver in here just to sort of wind back the piston in the caliper a little bit more. And then we should be able to pop this off and swap the pads out. Just a couple bits I'd recommend grabbing as well, guys. So we've got a adjustable spanner here. I would just get the right size, but I can't be asked to go and find it. This was a lot closer, so that's what I'll use to gauge how big that is, to let you guys know, and I'll also use that just to hold it in place while I take the bolt off. Socket set, obviously, bit of anti-squeal paste, even though there is an anti-squeal shim on these pads, but I do like to put a bit on anyway, just in case. Getting yourself some cable ties, very handy indeed, because when you take this off, there's nowhere really to hang it, so you can kind of just tie it to your spring. Keeps it out of the way and doesn't pull on your brake line. You want to clean off some of the brake dust that is left there from the old pads, just to allow a nice flush seat of the pad against everything else. Can't say what I'm trying to say. Basically, clean it off. Little wire brush should be good for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get into actually removing the caliper. So this is a 13mm at the back, and then this is reading at 20, but it is sat on this sort of protruding metal part here, not the actual bolt itself, but it'll still keep it in place. I think it might be something like a 19, guys, but you may have to double check that. Yeah, all you want to do at this point is basically wind this bolt off, nice and easy, if I can get that in without dropping it. This is where I look like an absolute moron. So that's righty tighty, don't want to do that. Okay, cool. So holding that in place These are on there, man. Cool, so I don't know if you guys have seen that on camera, but you can see this keeps spinning. So that's why you need to hold it in place after you've done the initial loosening off. There we go. There we go. Lovely, there we are, 1 bolt. There's also like a 6-point socket fitment up there if you want to use that instead, but just use a normal socket, why not? Now it's time for same on the bottom, guys. Really hoping I'm not blocking the camera. If I am, I'll just cry about it in post. So again, just a little bit of positive reinforcement. Probably should have done the bottom one first, actually thinking about it, but oh well. Weirdly, this bottom one's coming off without holding the other thing in place, so that's a bonus, I guess. I hope, or I've broken something, not sure. Second one out. So in this particular instance, guys, this is actually sliding off. Normally, or sometimes, you have to get a screwdriver in there just to ease off the pressure on the pads a little bit, but we're okay today, which is pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is get my cable tie, loop it in here, and then we can use this as a support for the caliper. Now it's probably worth still having the screwdriver on you, even if you don't need it to get the caliper off, but I'm just going to pop off these old pads. This is why the screwdriver's needed. See, the discs just kind of fall off, which is annoying, but as you can see here, guys, not really all that much left of pad material. And just for comparison, here is the new Yellowstuff pad. So as you can see, these are pretty knackered. Just hit my paintwork, as you do. What I'm actually going to do is just put one of these bolts back in just to hold the disc in place while I do all this work. And second one, ever so slightly more on that, but still naff all in the grand scheme of things. So guys, this is what you want to be cleaning up, this area here where the brake pad actually sits in. Just get your wire brush in there, give it a good scrub. I'm trying to take all the nice caliper paint off as well, but sometimes it can't be helped. But yeah, you just basically want to clear that area of any debris so that the brake pad sits nicely in there. Don't even brush my teeth this well, jeez. Right, that should do. And then basically what you're going to do, these are the things that actually clip it into place, so they sit just in these grooves here. But all you want to do really is get some of your anti-squeal paste, get a little bit on here, even though this is an anti-squeal shim. You probably don't need to do it, to be honest, guys, but it's just a habit I've got into. And then, yeah, a bit on these bits as well. I should be good to go. I'm just going to put it straight onto caliper bracket. Be sure not to get any on the disc, guys, because you don't want any sort of lubrication on the disc, because obviously that's going to make it break not as well, and you'll end up in a bush. So would not recommend that, but yeah, so a little bit up here like so, all good. And then we can put the pad on again, not getting any lubrication on there. So if you set it in like this to start off, as you push down, it will collapse these clips a little bit. It can be a little bit of a faff though, guys, so bear with me while I give this a go. Aha, so screwdriver is the way, guys. This one was a little bit bent out of place, but now it's in. It's in. Lovely. And then obviously here and here are going to sit about here and here. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of this stuff on. Only a little bit, just to sort of prevent any potential squeaks. But again, I think with this shim on the back, it's not a possibility anyway. But obviously if you didn't have this on and you're just using some like Icha pads or something crap like that, you could definitely make use of this. Pagid, by the way, guys, Ceratec stuff, pretty decent. by the accounts I've heard. Probably worth talking about the braking coating as well, guys. So there is quite a long braking period with the Yellowstuff pads, but basically this pink stuff here is essentially to scrub off any old brake pad material or say sort of like unevenness in the disc itself, because it's quite abrasive compared to the yellow material. So that's why it's kind of a long braking period, but worth it because they do seat nicely. So yeah, I don't think these pads are directional or the side that they're on matter really. I think you just sort of bob them in. I will just say though, if you by any chance have the same setup as my Polo, these are pads that would normally have a sensor in, so one of them does have a wire coming out the bottom. You can just yank that out and then yeah, it's just for your brake pad sensor. But also, well I remember, obviously you should never change your discs, but not your pads, but you can change your pads and not your disc. Really, I mean, people that know what they're on about say you should do both at the same time, every single time. However, you can get away with a few changes on one set of discs, and really, if there's not any excessive lip in here, guys, just right on the edge, you're fine. Then what you're going to want, guys, is a real cheapo brake caliper winding kit. That's a 0? I don't really know, I'm just guessing that's the right one, if I'm quite honest with you. Also, if you pop off your brake fluid reservoir cap, that will make winding the caliper back just that little bit easier for you, but make sure you have chocked your wheels and your car's not going to go anywhere. Something I've just realised is this needs to pop off, guys, because with the performance calipers you do have this little logo here, but pops off quite easy, like so. Now that's off, you can wind this back and drop everything on the floor. It's also worth just mentioning why you have to do this. Obviously, as you use your brake pads, they wear down, and therefore your piston is further extended in order for it to push the pads against the disc. But now we have more material, we've got to wind it back, so it's basically reset the piston. I'll be honest though, guys, this is my least favourite part of the job. I literally dread this every time. Don't really know why, but I do. It's just very boring, sort of frustrating as well. So, and if it was easier, you could just sort of drift off and think about other stuff, but it takes quite a bit of force sometimes. It's a good time to check your seals as well, guys, because these perish quite a lot, and you'll need to fix them. But this one looks pretty good. I know one of my rear ones is pretty knackered, so I need to sort that at some point, but for now, front one is looking a-okay. It seems to get a bit easier the further in you get. And there we have it, one piston fully wound back. What I'm gonna do is just clean this area a tiny bit. Not that it's actually very important, but still gonna do it. I'm gonna leave that side and then, yeah, pop the cable tie off and then we'll pop it back on the new brake pads. This is most certainly not the tool for the job, but again, can't be asked to go and find some scissors. So let's give this a go. So guys, I went and got a pair of pliers in the end and got it off. But yeah, now that it's on here, it's actually going to fit over the pads. Now I'll wound it back. Basically, all we're going to do, push these back bits in because they are on like a bit of a spring sort of mechanism. Get that one on. Get that one on as well. Now what we're going to do, get the bolts, put those back in, sort of loosely just to hold it in place. I think that's going in. No, it's definitely not actually. That is going in perfect. And then this bottom one as well, like so. And then what we're going to do is going to tighten them up to a Newton meter spec, which I've got to go find out because I forgot. So guys, just looked, it's 35 Newton meters for these bolts at the back. So you want to get your 13 mil, set it to tighten, and then just try and tighten it. So that is actually the install done, guys. So what you want to do is just pop your wheel back on, tighten it all up. You've got 120 Newton meters for all the wheel bolts, and then you're pretty much good to go. I've made the grave mistake of wearing light coloured joggers, and now I'm going to press my knee against a dirty wheel, so yeah. Good job I planned in advance, guys. But really all you need to do is get one bolt in, and then it will just hold it in place, like so. And then basically when you put your wheel bolts back in, if you don't already know this, do it in a star pattern. So imagine if you did it in like a clockwork thing, the pressure would be not evenly distributed. Whereas if you go from one side to another, it's going to evenly distribute that pressure on the hub and not cause any problems. And then guys, now that you've lowered the cart to the ground, you can torque up your wheels again. 220 Newton meters. Eek. So again, in that star pattern, guys. Lovely.